game.
But is it all okay? Yes, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
right.
fine.
No, it's fine.
Scholars!
We here.
Hey, welcome to another installment of the Educated Brothers Podcast. Y'all know how it goes. We be talking shit before we start these episodes. Always. But,
one day we won't talk before class starts, but that
you
won't be
can't.
today.
You do that in school.
Every day.
But sometimes you was definitely one of those students who kept talking.
I'm an enabler. Yeah. I tell you this all the time. Don't get in trouble with me because I'm the one that's going to make it work. Everybody stop talking. That's me.
And the shit used to be worse with him because I was the student trying to get everybody to be quiet because I always respected my teachers.
Oh, you were a good kid.
But I was friends with all of the knuckleheads.
Right,
So I got thrown in the bunch right with him.
Yeah. I was a straight knucklehead. That's a good word. It's not like I was a bad kid.
Yeah.
But I was definitely a mischievous, don't take me anywhere where you're not supposed to laugh. You know what I mean? Like the church giggles.
Oh my God.
Forget it.
Oh my God.
I remember being the last one of the last, because I don't go to church anymore, but I remember the last couple times my grandmother took us to church. She hated our choir director. And she used to always wear these pantyhose with holes in them. Like,
right.
My grandmother was just in the back like, look at this dumb bitch. I'm like,
and now I got to keep it down.
Speaking of fucking choir and being a knucklehead, you know, the real words to the song are "The truth is your home."
Yeah.
But that sounds extremely like "The truth is Jerome."
And then you just start thinking about that shit.
It has to be the truth is Jerome.
It's like, no, but it's not. No, but it is. Like, yeah. You're going to tell me it's not.
Why I don't go to church, you know.
But listen, scholars, we're good. Dante, you good?
Yeah, I told you, we good.
Listen. As you guys can see, we have a guest. And
special guest.
Before we let our guest introduce himself, we going let me get a few things off my chest.
Okay.
Listen, if I'm not mistaken, it was either the end of season 1 or the beginning of season 2. Mm-hmm. We sat here, we talked about my favorite musicians and favorite artists.
Well, I remember that was season 2.
And listen, I already fanboyed out. I'm not gonna fanboy in the episode. I'm big as hell, but I had to let it out because I'm still in kind of awe that he's sitting here with us today because he was one of the people I didn't name on that episode.
Oh, so, no shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Wow.
No shit. I shit you not.
That's amazing.
Without further ado, I'll let our guest introduce himself, and then we'll get into the rest of it, to me fanboying. So.
Hey, I'm Johnny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to class.
Wish there was more to it.
Listen,
hell of an introduction.
hell of a fucking. Listen. I'm John Taraj all the way, baby.
Wow.
All the way, baby. All the way, baby. Listen,
I need to start introducing myself as Johnny Polygon more. There's something about, I don't know, my first and last name, like introducing myself that way. I mean, even on like a podcast, that's where I should be in the most like promo mode, talk about all my projects, who am I, But like in conversation, you know, I'll be like, hey, yeah, I'm Johnny. And, you know, occasionally I'll walk away and someone will be like, you know who that fucking was? That's Johnny fucking Polygon. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, I fucking forgot. You know? Or I'll be trying to get something, like, I don't know, a seat at a table or like a reservation or something. And I'm just like, yeah, for Johnny. And especially like in my hometown. Yeah. That's where I could really easily kind of like throw my name around more.
I was going to ask you
that.
But
that's exhausting.
I'm happy you brought that up. I'm happy you brought that up because you're literally the first person I've ever met from Oklahoma.
Cool.
Johnny's from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
How is Tulsa? Like, describe Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, we get dropped sometimes.
That shout out
was
to
that for us?
Shout out, that's Oklahoma. Shout out to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I thought that was maybe like...
Bob, drop another bomb for Oklahoma.
Oh, that's maybe for like the podcast next to us or something like that. No, Oklahoma's cool. You know, I was just trying to explain this earlier today. You know, I'm staying in Brooklyn right now, and a buddy of mine is in town from Sweden. He spends a lot of his time in Sweden and London, right? But he's like, you know, just an American nigga who spends a lot of time in Sweden. You know what I mean? Like, you know the type.
Yeah.
I was about to say fucking Tina Turner was living in Sweden.
Right. So he was asking me what Oklahoma's like.
Yeah.
And that's such a loaded question because Oklahoma's cool, especially if you know the right people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But what is Oklahoma like outside of those people?
Yeah.
What do
I don't want to hear any air horns. You know what I mean? I love my people in Oklahoma. I love my Oklahoma. I love my Tulsa.
Okay.
But outside of that, there's definitely a it's a loaded question. It's like, it's like talking about your uncle or some shit like that. Like, what's your uncle like? And you're like, you have the truth about your uncle, but then you don't want to be on camera saying the truth about your uncle.
Don't say that shit.
What if your uncle hears the shit?
You gonna go back home? They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What if your mama hear about you talking about your uncle? It's like you say worse stuff about him all the time. But yeah, no, Oklahoma's cool.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So, how was from the first time that you stepped out of Oklahoma and came to a city like New York? How was like that experience?
Oh man, so I moved from Oklahoma when I was 20 years old. I moved to LA first.
Okay.
With $297 in a dream, baby.
Okay.
I had $300, but then I stopped and got Slurpees and shit.
So you
My dad drove me.
Okay.
My dad drove me out, and I had taken this like handful of Adderall.
Okay.
Right, because I wanted to get there as soon as possible.
Yep.
So I didn't want to stop or nothing like that. Of course, my dad didn't know that I was just like fucking high as a kite the whole. He had his suspicion.
It's like 20 hours.
Yeah.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but something seems off.
Hold up, is he still fucking driving?
Damn, I never heard you talk this much.
It's like I'm focused.
I'm asking him about himself and answering for him. Like, what was it like being a kid? I bet it was like,
He said the whole pie equation as he was driving.
Yeah. But no, one of my first visual memories of LA was we were driving on Hollywood Boulevard and we were right in front of the Man's Chinese Theater, right? And that's where, I didn't know this at the time, but that's where all like the homeless people dress up as superheroes and get tips and shit like that, right? So, but I had seen Spider-Man getting arrested, you know what I mean? Like, he was like...
The cops don't like Spider-Man.
He was like on the wall. No, he was on the wall, assuming the position, and the cops were patting him down. And I was like, "This isn't something you'd see in Tulsa." You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, this is a crazy place," and so that was like my very first experience.
That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy.
But I had been a lot of places. Like I was in a play when I was like 14 and went to London.
Okay.
Oh, that's dope.
And,
that's fire.
I discovered there was fucking racism in London at 14. I was like, damn, I can't escape this shit. But there was just a drunk dude across the street, and he was like, fucking Negro. I was like, man, what the fuck? I was very disappointed in that. I was like, there's racism in England?
I mean, they kind of started that shit.
Of all the places. What are y'all mad at me for? But no, so, but then, I had come to New York a few times before I moved here, all under like very like sketchy circumstances. Like there was that's part of my life is kind of hard to remember because I was just on so many drugs. So I think I had lied to my girlfriend or something and said that there was a guy trying to sign me, and my girlfriend had some money at the time, and I was just fucking high as a kite. I was on some bender, and she was like, well, we got to get you to New York. And so I flew to New York, and I like smuggled some coke on the plane, and I just smelled horrible. It's one of those things, like looking back, I still feel bad for this lady. This lady who was sitting next to me on the flight there. They had like the TV screens in the seats in front of us, and I'm trying to I'm watching The Wire. Have you guys seen The Wire?
We talked this.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's my
listen.
favorite show.
That's your jam over there.
Yeah.
I literally had 4 episodes. We literally spent talk about The Wire.
I was about to say we could do multiple episodes about.
Donnie's coming
The
back. We're
Wire.
going to talk about The Wire.
Yeah, I've seen it probably 12 times.
I watch it
all the
every
way
2
through.
years, all the way through.
Yeah, same here. So like, there's this poor white lady sitting next to me. I hadn't showered in like 3 days, and I'm watching The Wire, and I'm pausing it all the time trying to explain to her what's happening. I'm talking like this is like fucking. What season was this? Must have been 3rd season.
String and get shot.
Spoiler. But no, I was explaining to her like something about Marlo or something like that. But I'm trying to explain to her the intricacies of.
And you're going into detail.
I am going into extreme detail. No, it must have been 4th season because I'm talking about the education system and all this shit. And I am just high as shit. I keep getting up to go to the bathroom to like do more lines and stuff like that. And I'm sitting down like, all right, so this character right here. And so then when I got to the second I got to New York, I just crashed, and I kind of slept it off. And then had to come up with like some other crazy story about why I didn't get signed while I was in New York, or the guy didn't show up, or I don't know. So it's all very hazy. But to answer your question, I don't remember it. What was your question? What were my first experiences like in New York?
You kind of explained it.
He explained all of them to the point where it was like, yo, Spider-Man got arrested. Okay?
Spider-Man got arrested.
You love The Wire.
There was 300, but 3 went away for slushies and everything, so he was at 297.
Right. And then
You floored it 20 hours.
You had the record deal, like
the fake record
the
deal. I was high on cocaine.
Party record deal. Yeah. And then you went out to New York.
Yeah, the Fire Fest deal.
Yeah, the Fire Fest deal.
Yeah. Not a scam. It's false advertising.
And it's funny that you bring up, well, not funny, obviously, but the music that you bring up, like things that you've done, and I hear the lyrics in your music. Me personally, I got onto your music after Shawn, because most of the music that I listen to that's out of the realm of what I normally download, he's put me onto.
Nice.
So all of your music that I listen to came from my boy right here.
Nice.
So I love your visuals and all those things.
Thank
I
you
want to
so
ask
much.
questions about those, because we
Ask
briefly
away.
talked about the Riot song visuals.
Right.
Like, bro, I need to know how did what was the thought process for the visuals for that?
So with the Riot song, originally I had shot a video in San Francisco that was absolute ass. I couldn't stand it, right? And so that was like the majority of the budget that I had was spent on a video. I've shot more music videos that no one's seen than the ones I've actually released, because I'm very, very particular about looking cool. Like I gotta look cool.
Yeah,
Like
there's an aesthetic that you want to have. Yeah.
Yes.
I get that.
This does not look cool. So no one can ever see this. But so with that, we went to. There's like this big like tax rebate at the time in Toronto. It might still be the case, but we could essentially. I had like $5,000 left on that budget, and so I went there to shoot that video.
You shot that in Toronto.
It was shot in Toronto, so
You look very Canadian.
yeah. So
Had that vibe to it.
and it was very that video was kind of like a hodgepodge of like a bunch of different ideas. So kind of like the storyline of the video was written by my first manager named Nathan. I didn't even realize that until years later when I talked to him again and he was pissed off about it. You know what I mean? And he's like, dude, what the fuck? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, everything happened in the same chronological order. I was like, oh, I see that exactly now. Yeah. But then my girlfriend at the time, who was also my manager, had the idea to do like the paper cutouts. And so she was like, all right, if we shoot this frame for frame, print it out, then cut it out, and then reshoot it in the miniature world. You know, again, frame for frame. It'll look very cool. And I'm like, yeah, that will look very cool. So literally like fucking took about 4 months to do that. Which was great. It came out cool.
Yeah.
Really
yeah, thank you. And Riot Song did a lot for my career. I don't know if there was definitely an easier way to do it, but it wouldn't have looked as cool. And like I said, I'm obsessed with shit. Look, I just need it to look cool. It needs to look cool. You know what I mean? I don't have the fancy language. It just needs to look cool.
So when it comes to like music overall, like I know the whole journey of like going to LA and stuff. Is that where the music journey for you started, or were you always starting music? Like, what was the journey like for you? You know, in terms of trajectory, how things went. Like,
I started as a breakdancer.
Word.
Right. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there was this place called Kane's Ballroom that would always have this thing called Retro Night.
I think every place has that. Shout out to the Eleganza in Newark. That was our
you know. So it was all like joints like that, and like, it was also all ages. I mean, I'm fucking 14 at this time. I'm a freshman in high school, obsessed with breaking.
Okay.
And at one of the retro nights, there just happened to be an MC battle. And I was always like kind of like fucking around with rapping, and I would take like Biggie lyrics, Eminem lyrics, and like Tupac lyrics, and Will Smith lyrics, and I would mix them all together. You know what I mean? Which is kind of like, if you listen to me now, you can kind of...
That makes sense.
It's still kind of the same, you know? But yeah, so it was like those four, and I would mix their lyrics all together. And so I got kind of like a basic idea of like rhyme structure and shit like that. And I was always kind of funny. And there was just like there was an MC battle. And I ended up winning it. And the prize was some studio time, this guy named DJ Shabazz. And I went to like an art school, or like an art high school. And so all my friends made music, or they were painters, or, you know, some sort of artist. So, you know, I got some beats from a few different people, got like 5-6 beats, wrote songs to them. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to record in the studio. Go to the studio, and the guy, DJ Shabazz, he's like, oh, this shit is actually fucking cool. And he gives me like 20 CDs of it or whatever. I'm like, all right, bet. He's like, yeah, you should sell this and, you know, come back. I'm like, all right. And so I get some artwork from a buddy of mine. I'm like in the yellow pages. Yeah, I'm sure anyone watching this podcast will know what yellow pages were.
Oh, no, yeah, we know about yellow pages.
Yeah. There should be some yellow page knowers.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this number?
Right, that was basically
Google
like
shit. That was Google.
Yeah.
CD. Okay.
Yeah. There it goes. So I look for CD duplicators and stuff like that, and I got it all packaged up, and then I went to school and sold. Oh, I had gotten maybe 30, 40 copies of this album, and I called it Journey to I, and I sold all of them, right, for like $5-10. And then at school, everybody was like saying the lyrics and shit like that. And I was like, oh, this is fucking great. I quit school. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? It wasn't that immediate, but I ended up dropping out like my sophomore year because none of it had anything to do with what I loved doing. I was like, this music thing is what I want to do 100%. I joined a band. We were called Omnicron, and we were the most like confusing band ever.
With that name, like, what made you guys choose that name?
I don't even know who. You know, actually,
isn't that a Transformer? That's where they're from, right?
No, that's
Omnicron?
Unicron. It's Unicron.
I actually think it was probably the keyboard player TJ who came up with it. He's always coming up with fucking. That sounds like a name he would come up with, you know. So I'm gonna give him the credit on that.
Yeah.
But we were like a jazz rock, rap, fusion.
Okay.
We were just like, you know, our clique. Everyone called us Space Negroes, which is really what the band should have been called.
That would have been fire.
You know what I mean? But nah, we were Omnicron. And the most important gig we ever played was this talent show that we had won the year before. And just so we're going to defend our title. And we were just all cocky as hell. And it was just a pure disaster of a gig. Like, instead of starting behind the stage, we started like from the audience, and I jump up on stage and my ass is hanging out, and I start like with my back to the crowd, and everyone's ow! And I think they're excited for me. It's really just because half of my ass is hanging out, and then the curtains open and knock down the microphone, and then start this feedback. It's like, and we were doing this song called Blackness, which was. It was like BLAC, and then the whole band goes K, and I go NUSS, and the whole band goes Blackness to an all-white crowd, you know. And
how threatened were they?
They start booing, you know. And then my battle rap instincts start kicking in, so I just abandoned the song and start dissing everybody in the crowd. I was like, "You in the jersey, you ain't worthy," blah blah, blah. Like all this shit, and. Then I jump up on the judges' table and I start dissing the judges. And they end up booing us off the stage or whatever. And the whole band is like fucking pissed at me about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, our song choice was very.
Read the room.
Our song choice was flawed from the beginning.
We might as well have came out here and said niggas.
Yeah. But I was like, you know, even. I still have a lot of it now, but back then, you know, as a teenager, if it's gonna go bad, then let's have it be a fucking disaster.
Lean all the way into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's make a fucking lifetime story about it.
Don't stand up there embarrassed. You gotta lean all the way into that.
Right, like even back then, I was like, this may hurt in the moment, but you know, 20 years from now, I'm gonna be in Jersey on the Educated Brothers podcast,
yes, sir.
and it's gonna come
yes,
up.
Sir. It's gonna come
this
up.
is gonna come
it's
up.
Definitely gonna come up.
It's a part of your journey.
It is a part of my journey. But anyway, so my whole band's pissing me. The crowd is walking by us. They're like, "Hey, aren't you guys? You were singing Whackness." I was like, "No, it was Blackness." And so everyone's just fucking devastated. And the next morning, you know, I wake up. I'm still breathing. Mm-hmm. I still have shit to do.
Yeah.
You know, and then we got band practice later, and I was like, "Okay, so this is what I love to do," because that's basically as bad as it could ever go.
That's dope.
And I still love
like
it.
that.
So
Yeah.
like now I'm fucking invincible to the shit. So where anything can happen and I'm straight, you know.
Good choice word. That's why
you knew it. Listen, we're here.
Once you said you're invincible, he pointed at you.
We're here. We're here. Because I'm happy you said that word.
I knew.
Because that's one of my fucking anthems. I have favorite songs, but I also have anthems, shit that I need to listen to get my day started.
Great.
So I want to know what went into making that song. 'Cause that's my shit.
And this is how we tethered, because I literally was going to ask the same thing. You know, Invincible was another
That's
video.
my shit.
Everything you hear. My music has always been extremely autobiographical. Yeah. Like I can listen. I have my life kind of sectioned out into albums, hairstyles, and girlfriends. You know what I mean? I can tell you where I was, what was happening, all that shit. But yeah, Invincible was I don't want to say the beginning, but it was definitely still on the good part of the party. You know what I mean? Like it still felt great. Yeah. I was still having fun. Yeah. No, there was no real darkness that was happening yet. Mm-hmm. But I was going really hard. You know, I was living in Williamsburg and had an apartment that had its own little private elevator. The elevator opens up like into the apartment. It's like floor to ceiling windows.
So you knew everyone individually in that video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's this girl named Kat Cunning who's in that video who is doing really well now. She's on a bunch of TV shows. She was in like The Deuce, and she's in a bunch of movies, and she has her own little music career. Nope, she has her own music career. Putting Little in front of something.
That's not what we meant.
That's why he walked it back. Hold up.
Do not take that out of context, because she's probably more popular than me now, you know. But yeah, so Invincible was very much, you know, woke up in the morning, don't know why I started rapping.
Listen.
It's literally as soon as the beat starts, it just starts going. Right?
Yeah.
It just starts going.
I promise you, I remember the first time I heard that shit, I'm like, nah, this, because like I said, I listen to music I relate to, so I wasn't going as hard.
Yeah.
But in that time in my life, I was kind of living like that, to where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, we just gonna go with it. We're gonna roll with the punches. Right. So I remember the first time I heard this shit.
Listen, to me, that was the whole reason I was making music. Like, you know, not the whole reason, but it had a big, like, that was a huge part. Yeah. Was living wild, living reckless, and just, you know, waking up and next to a stranger, or, you know, whatever, and then, you know, doing the whole thing over again the next day, not paying any consequences for the shit, you know, like feeling invincible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, so I shot that video at the apartment I was living in, and then some of it was shot in Vegas. Which I'm allergic to Vegas.
At this point, we are too. We good.
I just know that it's a city inside of Nevada.
Yeah. I know I'm not.
Next time I'm going back there, I'm going for work, and I'm leaving.
I'm not. It's not a unique story to me in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, I've had some strange. It could have been a lot worse for me in Vegas, but, you know, just narrowly escaped some.
You teetered that line, but you didn't cross that line. You got right to the line and was like, wait a minute, that's a lot of danger if I keep going.
When I got out of rehab, the one of the first movies I watched was You People with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
And there's a part where they go to Vegas and they're like partying, doing blow and all that sort of shit. And it like really upset me. Like I was like, it was the first time I was really triggered. You know what I mean? Like me and my girl are watching, and I'm just like, I gotta do something. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just like, you know. And we just watched it again recently, and she's like,
turn this shit off.
Yeah, no. She was kind of on me about it. She's like, you remember a couple years ago when we watched this and you almost started crying, you know?
It's like, first of all, okay.
Yeah. I was like, no, I don't remember that. No, I do not. Because I'm fine now.
Listen, women got to remember your most embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this shit right in his face.
Invincible was on Wolf in Cheap Clothing.
Yes.
So Wolf was still a good time. What came after Wolf? I think The Nothing was the next thing after that.
Listen, that 2013 was a really good year in music.
Yeah.
And like, you released that. I'm a huge Gambino fan as well. So because the internet came out that same year.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember just
me and Donald were supposed to do something together.
Listen, I'm a fanboy for real. So because I used to dive into shit and then would lead me into these websites I had never been on. And there was a rumor that you were going to do a song with Donald. Don't know where it came from. Don't ask. And then there was supposed to be this lineup because you already had Riot Song Remix with Cudi. So it was supposed to be the three of y'all hopping on shit. And I remember just like, yo, listen. But all I remember thinking to myself, if that shit happens,
you lose your mind. Your brain would literally melt.
Like, whoa.
No, so me and I keep having this sneeze that's about to come.
No, you're fine.
Me and Donald were gonna do a song. We were like emailing this song back and forth. And man, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but
You can just say this person.
This person.
so there was a guy.
There
Yeah,
it
there
goes.
you go. That works. That works.
There was a guy who also wanted on the song, right? And I was like, so Donald was like, "Yo, let me hear his verse before." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, cool, because I know why.
Yeah.
He just wants to make sure his
Yeah.
verse
Yeah.
isn't fucking whack.
Yeah.
Right? But this dude felt like Donald wanted to make sure he was on the song before he sent his verse in, like he was the glue that like held the song
Okay.
together.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was not the case.
Mhm.
Which was not the case at all. Because Donald and I had already been we'd already been talking, like we had like the same publicists and like a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
You know, I was fucking, you know, I was at his birthday party and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like we were cool.
like y'all weren't just like crossing similar paths.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
y'all
and it
knew
wasn't
each other.
like I was
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
hey, email this is Bob. It's like, no, we should do something. You
He
know?
didn't do you how Ludacris did Terrence Howard.
No, it wasn't anything like that.
right?
No.
What happened to you, man?
Talking about Hustle and Flow.
When he found his tape in the guy, it wasn't one of those.
Yeah,
like,
no,
no,
it
like
was
y'all
not.
actually.
It was not one of those. It was
Yeah.
like, it was a no pressure thing. We're doing this because we both want to do it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then this other person got a hold of the song and was like, "Oh, I want to use it for my thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay," you know. And so he lays his verse, this other person, and I'm like, "Ugh, this ain't it." But why don't you try something like this? And I wrote him this whole verse, and he was like, "No, I don't want it to be good."
I'm lost.
Literally verbatim.
You fucked me up with that.
Literally verbatim.
I was waiting for like another punchline. So
Yeah,
I was like,
he's
oh
like,
no, like verbatim.
I don't want it to be good. I don't want it to be good. And I'm like, what do you mean? And so we had this whole argument, and then he took it upon himself to send it to Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I haven't spoken to either one of those people since then. But it tore us all apart. It tore us all apart because it was like
fucked everything up.
yeah. I mean, even Donald getting the song from the other guy. That I was like running interference between the two things, and it's like
just started
then
getting
I
weird.
look like I'm trying to fucking sandbag Donald into this fucking huge whack song, and you know honestly, the Childish Gambino thing hadn't really like caught on,
Yeah.
Okay.
at that
point,
time yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he wasn't like this huge get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
almost like it would have been a good look for him to be working with me. It was like
Yeah.
it was a mutual thing. And
That's
then
how it started, like a
that's
mutual
how it
understanding.
started.
Yeah.
Then we had this wild card
Yeah.
involved. And so, yeah, I'm sure, you know, one of these days I'll bump into him, and it's no beef or
I mean,
anything
he
like
can
that.
always come on the show and talk about it.
I mean,
Right.
hey,
What do I can talk about?
Obviously, Donald went fucking out of here.
Yo.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, what the
Listen, I discovered both of you guys. I discovered both of you guys kind of in the same fashion because it was just like I said, we talked before the episode because back in the day you had to actively search for music you wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
So I found yours because Riot Song Cudi remixed it, and I just so happened to be looking for new Cudi songs. I discovered Donald because I watched 30 Rock, but I had no idea about who wrote on the show and shit like that. Community came out. MTV interviewed him, and he was like rapping at like a festival.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he raps? And then that's when I started to go
He
back.
does
I'm
too
like,
many things.
Yeah.
He's
Not only
a
that,
jack of all trades.
He does too many things well.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's kind of annoying.
yo,
He's trying to
Oh,
look for that little
nah.
like chink in the armor, but it's
Yeah.
like, yo, it doesn't exist.
not
Like,
not to like boost your ego, but boost your ego a little bit. say the same about you. We rap,
Sure.
we singing.
I'm
You act.
You acting
I am,
now.
so it's like,
You
yeah,
I'm
acting
about
now.
to follow in Donald's footsteps.
There you go. There you go.
But you're gonna do it your way. We talked about originality.
Yeah.
You're not gonna put
No,
yourself
my
in a box.
career is like not something I'd recommend to anyone. Okay. You know what I mean? Like
your path was your path.
Yeah,
you know?
don't do it.
Don't do it that
do it
way.
like that.
Don't do it that way.
You know what I mean? There's an easier way.
Yeah.
And it's way less painful.
Listen,
Just,
at 34 years old, I'm going to take that journey now.
Man, I'm telling you,
It's one of those where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have your journey. Like you said, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
So if you could replay it all, you'd be like, listen, don't do that. We don't need to do
Listen,
that, okay?
I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I wouldn't change anything because that's what
life, experiences
you
are
change
about.
one thing, then the butterfly effect.
Yep.
I end up fucking growing a tail or some shit like that. But I definitely wouldn't advise anyone to approach anything the way I've approached it because I just never. I never really gave a fuck. You know what I mean? Like it was never. Fame has never been a goal.
Yeah.
Ever.
You speak to that in a lot of your music.
It's always been I don't know, like a side effect, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're a boxer, you're in the MMA, and you're a fighter, right? And you have a 6-pack, right? Fame is the 6-pack to me. It's the side
glitz
effect.
and the glam.
It's just like, this is what happens when you're doing this thing, but I'm not doing this thing to get this 6-pack.
Understood. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that analogy.
So
makes sense.
I like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
You work out for mental reasons, and you just so happen to get
It's
cut
like
up.
that's the benefit of the thing that you're actually doing. Like, that just comes
It's a
along with
benefit.
it. Yeah.
And it's like, and so, but if you make it the sole, because I know people who are very serious about fame. Fame is easy to get.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like,
especially nowadays,
with influencers, and even now, it's like influencers, that bubble's bursting because there's just too many.
It's oversaturated.
It's
the
too many of
market
them.
is
Now you
way
can just buy
oversaturated.
followers and all that sort of shit. So you can't even trust influencers. So
Nope.
I feel like everything moves in circles, and I'm kind of at a place to where I'm on my, I don't know, my third act or something like that, to where now, here's a great story. So I'm in this new show called The Lowdown.
Shout out to that. Shout out to Lowdown.
It comes out on FX. That's inappropriate. I'll take that one. It comes out September 23rd on FX, Hulu, Disney Plus, or whatever. So I had a huge day on set, right? It was one of the days I was shooting a scene with all the stars of the show. It's like Ethan Hawke, Keith David, Kyle MacLachlan.
Shout out to Goliath.
Yeah.
Shout out to Goliath.
You know what I mean? And it's like all these people are in this scene with me.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm just like, I'm on this high. I go home, my girl's at work, and the kids are at home and they need to eat. Right? But the kitchen's like a fucking mess.
Okay.
Right? So I have to like clean the kitchen, I have to do the dishes, and then cook dinner for the kids. I'm trying to tell them about how amazing this day was on set. They're like, they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, cool, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, that was cool.
They're like,
what I did there.
Okay.
But now I have to come and be a regular person.
And then it's like, that was cool over there.
That was cool over there, but we're hungry. Where are the chicken fingers? You know what
We're
I mean?
happy for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey,
but,
feed me, damn it.
Yeah. When that would have happened before, it's like, all right, I'm on this high. And the closest thing I could get to maintaining that high was cocaine. You know what I mean? So right after that, I would have had to keep that
energy
going.
up. Like,
You know what I mean?
That positive,
And
you want to experience that all day. Yeah.
man, when you get too high, you just drink a little bit and then get brought down. You drink too much, you can just get high and then blah, blah, blah. You know, it's called speedballing. I always thought speedballing was like heroin and coke, but speedballing is just an upper downer, and you're just, you're just doing that all day. And I know for sure that if I, at any point other than right now, would have been any more successful than I was, I'd be dead for sure. For sure. I always had too much access to excess. Yeah. And there weren't enough consequences for me. And, I'm an addict and I'm an alcoholic. I see absolutely no shame in that. There's millions of us in the world. I just don't do drugs or drink anymore, but I'm still an addict. I'm still an alcoholic. I'll still do things addictively. Like I saved a lot of money not buying drugs and alcohol, and took my family on vacation with all that money that I saved from not buying drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right, so we're at Six Flags.
I was gonna say, Marv, drop a bomb for
that. Drop a clue bomb for that.
That's dope.
So I'm riding these roller coasters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, I love these. But I'm riding these roller coasters like a fucking addict. I'm damn near stepping over children. Get
out the way!
Fucking my family's like, fucking slow down. I'm like, you don't want to go on this fucking roller coaster? Get out of the way, Mom. Fuck. But
that's hilarious.
so yeah, it pops up.
Yeah.
Still. But yeah, so now with my third act, there's actually like a balance. There's a balance of things. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I need people around that don't give a fuck about this other thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And before, I thought I needed to be around people who gave the biggest fuck about this other thing. Like, you know who I am? You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
Like, holy shit. Yeah. And so it's a constant balance. Like what I was saying about introducing myself. Like, I always introduce myself as Johnny. I know that. One time I was at Rock the Bells music festival, right? And I'm running around with the guys from Dead Prez. No, this wasn't at Rock the Bells. This was just a random time in New York. I'm just hanging out with the Dead Prez guys, and M1. Everywhere we went, he was like, yo, I'm M1 from Dead Prez. I'm M1. I'm M1 from Dead Prez. Right? And they'd be like, oh shit, right this way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, ooh, there's power in that. You know what I mean? This tattoo right here is because we were in a club and he's like, I'm M1 from Dead Prez. He's like, this guy was like, I'm giving tattoos. What do you want? He's like, I don't want anything. I was like, I'll take, I don't know, my last name on my arm. You know what I mean? It's like, it's full circle. But anyway.
Sometimes you got to use what you can to get in.
Yeah. But I did that for like a long time. Like, before I got sober, I didn't have a phone or an ID for like 5 years. Right? And I was perfectly fine. And I was like, I used to love that. I used to love showing up to some place with no money, no ID, and being able to just have the night of my life. You know, everybody wanted to get fucked up with me. Everybody wanted to buy me shots. Everyone, wanted to party or whatever. I'd be flying everywhere with no ID. Shit. Which is people don't know you can do that, but it's like, you just go through a little extra security, and if you're flying private, then you can do whatever the fuck you want, unless the FBI's waiting on you when you land, which never happened, Sure. But yeah, getting high a mile high is like, that's like a whole nother thing. So I also my rock bottom didn't look the way I had imagined it. I always thought rock bottom was like, well, I'm not sucking dick under a bridge. So until right before it gets there, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I saw Louis C.K. He was like, Louis C.K. was like, "Can you imagine sucking a dick, man? Like, I can barely even brush my teeth without gagging." But anyway, that's not the point of the story.
Did you hear that? He dropped the bomb. Shout out the bar. Shout out the bar.
If that's your thing, though, it's all good.
Yo.
Somebody needs to do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just not going to be here.
Oh, shit.
Ain't gonna be me.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so rock bottom is actually just the place that you ask for help and you follow through with the advice that you're given. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your rock bottom can be where you choose it to be. And it can always be worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember doing drugs at the fucking White House, you know, and then less than a decade later, I'm doing drugs in a fucking crack house. You know what I mean?
You broke that up because you did the song with Nas.
Yeah.
So you guys are invited to the White House because of that song, correct? How'd that go?
That was cool. More than that, we did this thing on BET. It was like Martin Luther King Day. We were at BET for the first black president, and they had fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken everywhere. Right?
Wait,
I'm looking around.
Was this after BET got bought by the white lady?
I don't know.
Because that would have
I can't
been.
even tell you. I can't even tell you. But I was like, this is the blackest moment of my life. Like, holy shit, this shit is fucking incredible. And my dad was still alive at the time.
Yeah.
So I know he was like super proud to see his son. My dad was by far my biggest fan.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it at the time. I was super embarrassed about it at the time. You know what I mean? Because I would go home to visit and there'd be like these shrines
Everywhere.
I'm just like, oh,
It's like, oh, this is
God,
getting creepy.
like, what the fuck? Dude, chill out. You know, like literally every newspaper. And my dad didn't give a fuck about anything more than the local newspaper. Holy shit. Like, yeah, MTV, whatever. You know, movie, cool, whatever.
But you make it
the
to the
local paper? What? This thing is
You
buying.
made it.
Oh my God, you get like 50
Yeah.
copies of this shit.
Fancy living.
I remember one time he like misplaced like 20 copies of this paper that I was in, and he thought that I threw it away. I'm like, why would I ever throw it? But he just did not believe me. He's like, man, I was like, are you gonna hit me?
Like, what's
Like,
to
he looked
happen?
like he was about to hit me. But no, so I was doing that gig with Nas, right? I am just always high or drunk, right? I can't get high in front of any of those guys because they're like old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like, we come from a place of selling drugs, not like
Yeah,
doing
like,
drugs.
yeah,
I
okay.
was right on the I was right in the middle of rappers using drugs versus rappers selling drugs.
Okay. On that fine
You know what I
line.
mean?
Yeah.
And one of the things that put me over is Cudi talking about coke in his music. I was like, oh, okay. Whew. We're safe. He's way more popular than me. He's gonna get all the daggers for this shit. I can confess, you know. Ooh.
There was a point in time when people used to ask me, "Oh, yo, like you do this?" I'm like, "Nah," and they'd be like, "Everything you listen to is talking about that shit."
Right.
I'm like, I just relate with that they're going through. I
Like,
get
yeah,
it.
You relate to that, right?
No, not that
There
part.
was something about. First of all, it's like I believe everyone is potentially a drug addict if they do enough drugs and find the one that like works for them.
Okay.
That makes
Right?
sense. Yeah.
Okay.
When you find that thing that just, as I like to call, like, it's just like fixes your posture. You know what I mean? The thing that you're just like, oh, holy shit. You know, mine just happened to be like powdered cocaine, but I always felt above people smoking crack, right? Even though it's literally the same substance.
Yeah.
It's just you're like going
Just a
about it
different
different.
chemical makeup
You know
to
what I
it.
mean? And somebody in rehab told me, you know, it's still pussy even if it's doggy style. And I was like, shit.
Hey,
That's
yo.
a good one.
Listen, that's a fucking quote. That's a bar. That's a bar.
I was like, and you know, that somebody was me, by the way. I was just trying it out, see how you guys felt about it.
Yeah, some guy.
Yeah,
That's
some
a
guy,
fucking bar.
handsome as hell, underrated. Yeah.
Yo, this has been amazing.
Yo,
bro.
that was a bar, bro.
But we do want to make sure that there's anything for me. I know Shawn might have like a.
No, listen, I knew I wasn't gonna get all my questions, and I'm fine with that.
I know. It's you know, being at home, being here in our classroom, if you will, we only get a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, this isn't like we was telling you our originators. We was like shooting in the basement with like creeks above us. We
Right,
could do
right,
a
right, right.
3-hour episode. But with all of that, you know, I know there's a lot of things that you've done. There's a lot of things that you're currently doing.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want people to know about, like overall? I know you said don't follow your footsteps when it comes to the journey. But I don't know if you have a message for anybody who's like, you know, maybe trying to get into music or trying to get into like a dream, something that they're chasing. Like, you have anything for them?
Yeah, I would say, you know, there was a girl who asked me, she was like, "Oh, do you think I should model?" You know, beautiful girl. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you have to ask, no.
I get that.
Because modeling, just like music, just like acting, just like a bunch of different things, you got to be fucking crazy to think that you can do this shit. You know what I mean? And if you have to ask someone if you should pursue it, then maybe the answer is no. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe just do it for fun. You know, trying to make a living out of something can ruin the purity of it. I just got fortunate enough to where I was delusional enough, just talented enough, and reckless enough to where I could get myself in the right place at the right time where all the decisions are happening. Get yourself, if you are going to pursue anything, get yourself in the room where the opportunities are happening, because they don't really go outside of that room. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With the decision makers, they are, oh, we have the opportunity and we need somebody who can rap. Don't you rap? Okay, cool. You're doing the thing. Anyway, moving on. You know what I mean? They're not
already there.
You're already there. You're in the room. They're not going out and searching for the guy that they're going to give this opportunity for. They barely even know that it's an opportunity. It's just one of the things that they have to plug in to get their thing going. Mm-hmm. So get yourself in the room where the opportunities are happening. You know, some people can drink and party recreationally. I can't. I don't preach sobriety for people who don't need it. And the only people who can know if you need it or not is yourself. But if you are having trouble, stop drinking or not using drugs, if you have found that regular life has become inconvenient, you might want to look at why that is. You know what I mean? Because I know in my active drinking, I didn't want to do shit. Like, oh, there's going to be an 8th grade graduation. Oh. It's not going to be any fucking booze or bitches there. Like, what the fuck do I want to do that shit for?
There'll be moms there.
Yeah, like, fuck, there's going to be... Yeah, you know there's going to be moms there. And you know they put out.
Gotta take a shot before this 8th grade graduation.
Right.
Some bullshit.
Right, so I would say...
be in the crowd like, oh, brother.
Right. You know, be delusional. Delusional about your dream, diligent about the work, and yeah, that sounds like some shit that, you know, people online are so obsessed with putting quotes on random celebrities' pictures, and it's like, you know, that nigga didn't say it. You know, listen. It's like, to me, I don't know, on my timeline, on my Explore page, Jason Statham and The Rock are like the wisest dudes in the world. They're like,
I mean, I know
be delusional about your dream, and it's just like,
and then be a picture of them, like, he didn't say that shit.
He didn't say that shit.
You got to fact check. People like, no, he said it. I'm like, no, he did.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he didn't say that.
Yeah, and it's like, quote about being black in America. And it's like a picture of like Sean Penn or some shit. Like, Sean Penn didn't say that.
But before we get out of here, please let the scholars know where they can find you at one more time and when the show premieres, so we can all sit down and make sure we watch it and check it out.
Yeah, you can find me on television, bitches.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting offline. I'm doing only TV. No, all social media, Johnny Polygon, JohnnyPolygonMusic.com, which now I need to change that since I've expanded into acting.
JohnnyPolygon.com. That's it.
Dude, listen, there's a whole story behind it.
Somebody stole your domain name, didn't they?
Man.
Perfect.
They want me to pay $5,000 for that motherfucker.
Oh,
so I'd left my manager back in the day, and he had the domain name, and he thought I owed him money, and he's like, I ain't giving it up until you give me the money, blah, blah, blah. So he just kept paying to renew this thing. And then,
that's a different level of paying.
but no, he deserved it. He deserved it. But then he stopped paying, and then one of these companies came in and swooped it up. And there's companies that will just buy domain names.
Yeah.
That are
already existing, different traffic is going to come to the website.
Yeah, like Staples.com definitely had to buy it from whoever owns Staples.com, and they probably charge them
an arm and a leg for
fucking
that.
hundreds of thousands of dollars for that shit. You know what I mean? So, I do feel a certain flattery in that they came in and swooped JohnnyPolygon.com. I'm like, who else is going to use that? I've only met one other Polygon or Johnny Polygon, and he didn't even use the Johnny part. His art name was Polygon, and his name just happened to be Johnny as well. And the kid's a fucking dick. He sucks. He's got all sorts of animosity towards me. I didn't even know who this kid was. I'm like, what is your fucking problem?
You stole his name. I'm
like, shit.
You stole his name.
Can't we get along? Like,
damn.
I didn't even get a chance to get to know him. He came at me with some fucking smoke, and I was like, okay, fuck you, Johnny Polygon.
I swear I wish we had more time. I wish we had more time, man. But
where can we watch the Lowdown?
The Lowdown premieres September 23rd. Shit, that's fucking next week.
Yes.
Shit. So we excited.
It's going to be on FX, Hulu, Disney Plus, and it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a wild ride.
Listen, and we get to learn more about Oklahoma.
That's it.
That's right. It's shot in Tulsa.
There you go.
Right? From a Tulsan, so it's like authentic. It's not like, Sylvester Stallone has a show called Tulsa King.
It's
not even shot in Tulsa. Fuck Tulsa King, man. I'm like, what the fuck?
We're going to message you and be like, yeah, Tulsa is cool.
Oh, man. All the rappers in my town are fighting over the name Tulsa King. No, niggas really fighting over Tulsa King in Tulsa, dude. I'm just like, yo, fucking chill out. I'm the real Tulsa King.
It's like, okay, relax.
You got it, dude.
Nobody cares, man.
Nobody cares. Like, the whole time I've been in New York, no one's like, hey, who's the real Tulsa King? Like, tell me about Tulsa. Who's the real king of it?
Rocky.
Fuck.
Yo, it has been amazing having you on the show. Thank you for coming through, bro. Everything has been great. We wish you nothing but success moving forward.
Yes.
We know that, as you call it, this is the third act. So we wish you nothing but success and blessings during the third act.
Thank you, brothers, for having me.
Absolutely. With all of that being said, No Talent Beats. Play us out, brother.
I gotta say it too, because he's here. Don't do school, stay in milk, drink your drugs.
My God.
Yes, sir.
Yo, amazing.